the most underrated driver in Australia, John, and the most understated driver.
As a competitor, one of the fiercest you'll ever find.
And splitting them is John Bowe. Oh, he's got him sideways. Oh, John Bowe.
In my mind, we won.
You realise that he just loves driving.
Yes, definitely an unsporting move there by John.
We never really liked each other that much. I mean, that was just a fact of life.
John Bowe from the second row gets down, is spun.
Always harder to pass than a kidney stone.
Bowe takes round number one.
One of the best all-round drivers we've had.
And their results speak for themselves.
John Bowe, the new national champion.
Oh, he's
bounces off.
And so's Bowe.
Well, that's remarkable.
Big
because
accident.
there was no touch there.
John was just capable, and I don't know how you define capable. I guess the guy's blessed with talent.
John Bowe wins the 1994 Tui's 1000.
John Bowe.
Hello and welcome to Shannon's Legends of Motorsport. Here we are again in Bowden's private car collection. Yes, we will have the iconic cars, the big names, the great stories and the wonderful moments from Seven's Motorsport Library. Our special guest today, the evergreen John Bowe, is with us. Aaron Newman will bring us his expert comments and insights, of course, and we'll feature another Shannon's classic car, but let's get down to business. Today's featured driver is a man who could be claimed as one of the most versatile in Australian motorsport history. He is an Australian sports car champion, an Australian drivers' champion, twice Bathurst winner, an Australian touring car champion. He's done it all. Here he is, John Bowe, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see you, mate.
Evergreen, eh?
Have a seat. Do you like Evergreen?
I like Evergreen, yeah. I've never been called Evergreen before.
Yeah, it's called neither one thing nor the other, really.
Called many things, but not Evergreen.
It's anything but old. Let's start with that. Let's actually go back a lot further than that. You're a Tassie boy. There's been some good drivers come out of Tasmania, of course. Marcus Ambrose, Andrew Madecki. Do you strongly identify with your home state?
No, not really.
You're more of a national figure?
No, I left there in most of my racing life. I was there. Like, so when all the years I drove with Dick, I was living in Tassie, and I used to say to him, "Do you reckon I should come and live in Brisbane?" And he'd go, "No, you're close enough as it is." You know, so.
Now, of course, you come from an automotive family, as many drivers do. What was your background, and what got you into motorsport?
Well, my dad was a racer, so, you know, as a kid, I grew up with race cars around me all the time, and this is in the late 50s, you know, so early 60s, and he raced various little sports cars and a couple of open-wheelers, and it was just always, you know, I was always going to race a car. You know, it was not like I thought I'm going to be a career motorsport person or anything. I just, when I turned 15, I had a little car that I wasn't supposed to be driving because I didn't have a licence, and he found out I had it, and so he then made me get a racing car, basically. So,
Formula 5000. You look back on that era and you think, wild animals. Extraordinary. Not the drivers, the cars, actually.
Oh, some of the drivers were wild animals too. Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, when I drove them, I was only young, and when you're young, you have different perceptions of things, so I didn't ever think of it as being, you know, overpowered monsters, which they are, for sure. I just did my best, and I did a couple of race meetings at Gary's instigation and didn't go too badly in them, and then the third race meeting I did, my dad bought me a new set of tyres, and I thought, wow, how long's this been going on? You know, I'd been running on Gary's old tyres.
That's amazing what a difference that makes.
Unbelievable. So, you know, ever since then I've realised the value of tyres, hence why I've got Dunlop on my shirt.
Hey, it doesn't stop, does it? Now, the roll, you had pretty good success with that. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's have a look at you in action in the roll.
The 33-lap championship race proved a disaster for Victorian Alf Costanzo. His British-built Tiger snapped the drive shaft as the flag dropped, leaving arch-rival John Bowe in a Rolt RT4 a clear run at the front of the scattering field. Newcomer to the Australian Formula One ranks, Bruce Connolly, slotted into second, chased by the hard-driving Peter Hopwood. A spin on the slippery, rain-affected track put Hopwood back to third on the second-last lap, but it was Tasmanian Bowe who scored an easy victory in the second round of the Australian Drivers' Championship, with Connolly in second place, Hopwood third, and Graham Watson struggling across the line with a damaged front end.
Look at that hair, mate. Did you see that?
Yep. Lakeside looking very provincial in those days, for want of a better expression. And the Lucky Nuts car, I mean, well, there's a lot of one-liners in that, but it kind of fitted the atmosphere of the day, didn't it, really?
It did, yeah. It was very, you know, when you're in a category, it doesn't matter what it is, that's the centre of your universe, and that category then I was very involved in, and I loved it. I honestly did. But open wheeler racing in Australia has always been, you know, second cousin, and it became obvious to me not long after that if I was going to stay in motorsport, I had to drive a touring car, or as my dad called them, a tin top. So, you know, I then tried to brown-nose my way into it.
Before we get to that, you mentioned that we've had this strange relationship with open wheel racing. It's a great heritage, but of course being down under, I mean, we had the Tasman series, which was wonderful, but this was a different era. We still had, for various reasons, Prost, Lauder, PK and Alan Jones driving down here sort of in what you might call the off-season. That must have been a challenge.
It was fantastic. Bob Jane actually instigated that, and, you know, motorsport at the time should be very grateful for him to do it. But each year at the Australian Grand Prix in Calder Park, he used to bring out all these famous, you know, Formula One drivers, and us local guys, you know, there was myself, John Smith, Andrew Medici, Charlie O'Brien, Alfie, of course, who was, you know, wonderful driver. We all got to race against these blokes you read about in Autosport, so it's a pretty good opportunity.
Did you get to hang with them much and sort of learn much?
Not much, really. You used to try and beat them, so I don't think you should hang with people you try and beat. Although they all seem to be friends now, but I don't go along with that. How can you beat someone up if he's your friend? You just can't do it.
Yeah, a lot of great athletes have said exactly the same thing. We'll have more of the John Bowe story. We'll be on the way to the break.
Bowie's always been a very, very capable driver. Don't underestimate that chap.
He is very committed, just like I saw him in his open wheelers, very committed to his driving, but grit, like, man, did he have grit.
One of the best all-round drivers we've had, a top bloke, a good all-round driver.
Bowe was a brilliant driver. You know, the fact that he's still going, I mean, you realise that he just loves driving.
I really think that John Bowe is one of the best drivers on a broad spectrum of cars that he's driven. We had some great races. He was one of the hardest blokes to pass. I mean, that was what he was sort of almost renowned for. But he did give as good as he got, and he was a pretty hard competitor.
Focused 100% on motor racing. That was his thing. He wanted to make a life out of it, and he certainly has, and still is. And I don't know when he'll ever stop, to be quite honest, but as a competitor, one of the fiercest you'll ever find.
I didn't, you know, think that I want to be a racing driver. I just became one. You know, it was just a natural evolution. I look back on my life and I've made plenty of mistakes and plenty of blues, but I think I was put on earth to be a racing driver. That's genuinely what I really believe.
Defending champion John Bowe dictating the pace.
I like it because firstly it makes you stretch yourself. You know, it challenges you, not just the driving, but the creating of the group of people that you need to be good at it. You know, the driving part's awesome, but you don't think about it too much when you're doing it. And I love car people, so I go to the racetracks on Thursday nowadays, and, you know, I just love it hanging out with car people, and every now and again I have a race. So, you know, it truly suits what I am.
John Bowe on Shannon's Legends of Motorsport. Tell us about the Race of Champions.
Well, the Race of Champions was in 1980. It was when Peter Brock and the HDT had their first Brock Commodore, basically, which was a 5-litre, special wheels, flared guards, pretty good car. And they, obviously, as part of their marketing plan, they decided to have, I think it was 12 or 14 of them for drivers of the period at Calder at the Grand Prix. And I knew Graham Sellers, who ran Calder Park for Bob Jane. I drove him insane. I rang him every day so that I could get a run in this race of champions. So I got a run in it, and it was like madness. Everybody was crashing into everybody else, but I won in the end, so I've got the trophy.
And like... And it seems to me like one of those pivotal moments in a career, and you obviously sensed that. Did that fold into the whole the Volvo deal?
No, it was a complete waste of time. I thought it was though. I went home to Tassie and I thought, oh, this is it. I've made it. I beat all the people, Peter Brock included. And then one of his people, and I can't remember the guy's name, rang me and talked to me about co-driving and all that. It just didn't ever come to anything. It was just a fizzle. So it took a few more years of you know, round nosing to get into the sport proper, you know, in touring car sense.
Well, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Aaron Noonan is bringing us expert commentary and insights. Here's another example, Aaron.
Well, Bill, when John Bowe joined the Volvo dealer team in 1986, his real breakthrough weekend was in the West at Wanneroo, now known as Barbagallo Raceway. Part of a two-car Volvo 240 turbo program, he put it on pole for the first time in his ATCC career, and then it might have taken him 5 or 6 years since that HDT Race of Champions, but in this race he went head-to-head with Mr HDT himself, the late great Peter Brock.
Welcome back to Wanneroo Park. Peter Brock in 05 still leads round 5 of the National Touring Car title, but John Bowe is glued to the tail of the Mobile Commodore and making life fairly uncomfortable for Peter Perfect. Once again out of Cobb Corner, tucking in on the inside, looking for a good run and a clean run up the straight is John Bowe, and I think he might have it this time. Pulls up door handle to door handle over the crest and comes down, and he has now got the lead and the run for the next turn.
Yes, down in the pits here at the moment, John Bowe, the man that did brilliantly to take pole position and of course led the race, and we'll just let him get his helmet off, but they're pushing the Volvo away at the moment, and I guess John Bowe, you're a very disappointed man. Does John Shepherd know what the problem is at the moment?
I don't know, mate. It went off, the engine went off, and I reckon we maybe had the wrong grade of plugs in it or something for the... It's a Swedish engine, and like we don't know much about it, and it went off and it just died altogether. It's like it cooked the plugs or something, I don't know. It just hasn't got any fire, though. It's done a remarkable job, really. It just pisses me off that I was stroking along pretty easy.
Wow. Tell us about the Volvo dealer team. I'll just rattle off some names here before you do. James Smith, John Shepherd, and a mutual friend of ours, the great Graham Brown.
Yes. Those guys were all involved in the Volvo dealer team. It's a mouthful. It was actually, you know, a pretty good car. It was, when I said there that we didn't know much about it, honestly, we didn't. The car had arrived from Sweden the weekend before, which was in Adelaide, and it came with half the parts missing and all sorts of things. So I don't think I meant to sound as bad as it did then, but it was, as the season evolved, it was pretty competitive. And, you know, even though it looks like an unlikely race car, it was built by the factory, and it was, you know, good car for the time.
And with your name and others involved in it, the fans, did they ever warm to it, do you think?
Not really.
Yeah.
No. For many years, I kept it a secret that I'd driven a Volvo, but now that Volvo's got cred now, you see, because they're in V8 supercar racing, so now I tell everybody I was the first.
Well, fair enough.
I was the first.
Well, one door closed, in this case a car door, and another one did open. The John Bowe story will continue after this break.
And he is really hauling through the field. We'll get the stopwatches going shortly and give an idea of the split. There's John Shepherd, team manager for the Volvo Valvoline team.
The driver, when he's out on the track, is the managing director of the car. He makes all the decisions, but John was just capable, and I don't know how you define capable. He just did everything well. And there are people who do it to the best of their ability, but it still isn't well. And I guess the guy's blessed with talent.
Melbourne's Keilor International Raceway was the battleground for the grand final of the Nissan Turbo One Make Stakes. Sydney racer Alan Grice was in the box seat to collect almost $50,000 in awards. Open wheeler race John Bowe snared front row of the grid with Queensland's Dick Johnson, and it didn't take him long to set up a good lead. Bowe took the first heat from Johnson, Bond and Richards, and the point score was now wide open. From the start, it was the Kiwi who got away like a bullet in the number 10 car, with Gary Scott charging from the second row to make it a tight fit as they reached the first corner. Watch closely as race leader Portman gets slammed from behind by Bowe, who then goes infield in the mud and the blood and the beer, and right on cue, Richards gets himself up for the split. He takes Bowe and Portman in one swoop, and a whole new complexion comes over the series. Richards led the charge into the final lap, and although Bowe's bumper had risen to half-mast, he was still able to limp to the checker.
Oh, yes. A hugely successful one-make series. We're back with Shannon's Legends of Motorsport, John Bowe, and as the great Mike Raymond not so gently put it, big names basically crashing into each other.
Oh, man. You might have noticed that Nissan have never done it again since. It was crazy. It was really crazy. And Jimmy, as he always is, very shrewd, and he pops out the end with the car and the money. Good on him.
And Aaron Noonan joins us on the couch, ladies and gentlemen.
Good to be with you, Billy. I think that started the Nissan little era for you, where you drove the Enduros, as we covered on Series 1 with Glenn Seaton in 1987. But you actually had your first win on that combined call to track that some of our audience might remember, with the Thunderdome and the road course with Terry Shield.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. That's about, I think only twice they ever used it, and it had the whole full road circuit, and halfway down the front straight you went off round the oval, back on again. It was really interesting, but it was hard work because the cars were all set up for the road circuit. And, you know, you got onto the oval in a car that's set up for a road circuit. It was so heavy in the steering, that car, that I bit through my drink tube. So I ended up with this great bit of plastic floating around in my mouth.
Tasty.
It was, yeah, very nice.
But you won, so it tasted okay.
Yeah, no, it was good. We had a good race at the end. I think we beat Larry and Bill O'Brien in the end of the race. I can't remember. It's a long time ago. 1,000 races, mate. That's a lot of races.
It's a lot.
My memory's not what it used to be.
Hey, one thing that I thought, though, was pretty good, that's probably overlooked in your career, but when you go back through, and we talked about, Billy mentioned at the start that you were a sports car champ. The car that I think's amazing is the Viscander, which was an Australian-built sports car. Formula 5000, Chevrolet engine, plenty of power, unbelievably fast. Only drove it really briefly. It's still racing in historic racing to this day, and you and Dick drove it in a world championship round on that squiggly little infield track at Sandown.
Yeah, we did, yeah. I had it was a great car. Like, you know, you always, as I've said before, you always do well in a race car when the car's good, which is always the first thing you need, is a good car, and that was a fantastic car. And later in my life with that car, Dick drove with me at Sandown, and it was a proper international Group C race. The car was good enough, but the fuel consumption wasn't good enough. That category at the time was about fuel consumption, so we ran out of fuel about, you know, 20 laps from the end. It wasn't even close. so we put some more fuel in, thinking no one had noticed, but they did.
They did.
Well, that's a good time to get the man himself up to have a chat about that and, of course, other things. Dick Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back.
Well done, grab up here, mate. Well, you obviously did a lot together. How was that experience at Sandown?
Yeah, it was different. When you're in a car, like, one thing about a race car that you've got to be is comfortable. Now, short ass here, they took the whole seat and everything out. There was nothing. I was sitting on the floor. True, and I was still like this, you know. So
your legs were like that. It was like funny, wasn't it?
And the thing is that the pedals were so weird and close together that once you actually used the clutch to get off the line, that was it. I never used it again because I couldn't reach it. It was really weird. So
he's got feet about this wide, though.
Well,
a bit of a design fault.
1988, a special year though, because that was the year you also won for DJR.
Yes, yeah, it was good. I inherited it in some ways because Dick and Larry Perkins had a clash together, so, you know, I was thank you very much and went through the damage, but yeah, it was good. I mean, I love that time with Dick and Jill and all the guys. There's some guys that are still there at DJR that were there then. And, you know, we watched that Nissan footage before. That's when I got to know them better, really, because Jill used to time every car in the Nissan series, so she'd know everybody's lap time. So when you had a practice, I'd go and see Jill and she'd tell me how fast I was or how slow I was or whatever. So we formed a bit of a relationship in that early stage, really.
Now, Dick, you would have been happy to see John win, of course, but on the flip side, Larry unloaded you on turn 1, didn't he? Or lap 1 at least.
Lap 1 it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think, and he wasn't really happy with what I said to his team. But far be it from Larry to sort of say anything, wouldn't it? But isn't it strange, you know, the guys who used to crash at Calder and in the open wheelers were like JB, and there was JB, Madecki, and who was the other one?
You generalised it.
Yeah, generalising. And
once, we crashed once.
Yeah, I know, but then we all noticed that they all wore glasses, you know. So.
Well, that's a good time to go off to a break. We'll all be back after this.
John Bowe coming down towards the S's, and in car number 18, he certainly has everything going for him. Dick Johnson went out on lap number 1. The checkered flag will come out for his number 2 driver. John Bowe gets it sideways, but he cracks victory in round 3 here at Winton Motor Raceway this afternoon. The Australian Touring Car Championship for season 1989. We're ready to go racing between Johnson and Brock on the front row. Off and running, Brock gets away smartly. Johnson tries to catch a gear, and splitting them is John Bowe, who starts out of the second row and leads them up the hill for the first time. That was a brilliant start from Bowe, puts Brock into second, Johnson back to third. John Bowe, a brilliant start in the second of the Shell Sierras. And there's Johnson and Peter Brock getting into a bit of car wars, and the checkered flag will come out, and Bowe takes round number 1 today at Sydney's Amaroo Park Raceway.
Welcome back. Shannon's Legends of Motorsport. Exciting times, and times when there was a lot of character. Mike Raymond, for example, the great terminology and the nicknames that he gave everyone. It was fantastic.
He was great, wasn't he?
He was awesome.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
He was good.
He always gave somebody a nickname, you know, like Glenn Seaton was the baby-faced assassin.
Still is.
There's no baloney Tony got to run there as well.
No
Spicy
baloney,
Gracie. What were you?
I don't think I had one.
I don't think you got one.
No, I don't think I got one.
Oh, I got him with Jelly Bean. No, that
he called me
JB,
Jelly Bean.
yeah.
Oh, of course. That race there, that Amaroo Park race, though, I had my left foot, where you put it on the footrest, burnt on because the turbo and Dick's team hadn't insulated it properly.
Have you got the violins ready for this, or what?
And honestly, it burnt the bone, and it was seriously burnt, and I told him I was going to sue him afterwards, because when I got on the podium, which was a piece of grass where you stood, I got a bucket of water and I put my foot in the bucket of water, truly. That's a true story.
Yeah,
tried to kill me.
It's quite funny that you should mention that, and you'll get right of reply, Dick, but I was just about to ask you how the relationship, which lasted 11 years, was actually evolving at that time.
It was fine. I just told him to toughen up.
But they were impressive cars, though, weren't they? I mean, they were impressive cars, though, guys. I mean,
absolutely.
Little 2-litre, 4-cylinder, turbocharged, skinny rear tyres, more than 600 horsepower. I mean, really tough cars to drop.
Well, a lot of people don't realise that we used to run them in on the dyno with the turbo disconnected, and flat out, full noise, they had 90 horsepower. We hooked the turbo up and give it 2.4 bar a boost, which is like 40-something pound, and they had 680 horsepower. So,
it's the most powerful hairdryer you've ever seen.
But it used to come on like a light switch, you know. You had nothing, and then all of a sudden you had everything. So they were a difficult car to drive.
Very tricky.
Well, it wasn't exactly win on Sunday, sell on Monday in the case of the Sierra, but let's relive some wonderful memories of that car.
Last lap. Here comes Bowe. Richards getting sideways, bouncing off the curbs. He's trying everything that he knows to get past Bowe here. And if John can withstand the pressure on this last 2.4 kilometres, there's the last lap board.
Yes, we know that. As we get back to John
Richards goes up the inside.
Bang! Touch! Whoa! Crowd is standing and screaming here at Wanneroo Park. Bowe just feathering it through here. Get it straight. Bring on the power. And bring it up the hill, because Richards is sitting alongside and Bowe's trying to get down the inside.
There it is. That's his trump card. That extra power. He's got Richards covered as they come down to the braking point for the last time.
Is Jim Richards going to hold it on the inside, or can John Bowe keep it straight? He's got to get back to the inside.
Richards gets the power on. He's got a guard alongside. There's a drag to the line. The crowd's going crazy.
Bowe wins it. That has ruined the Nissan Challenge at Wanneroo Park because John Bowe has won both ends.
Hey! That was a nerve-wracking business, wasn't it? I hadn't realised it was that bad. My mind must have blocked it out.
Well, on the way to the break, let's have a look at JB's first V8 victory.
John Bowe starts alongside. Bowe creeps just marginally, but Bowe actually gets off the line better, gets away smartly. Glenn Seaton up on the inside, actually out-wrestles Alan Jones there. They are all at 6s and 7s. Mark Scaife and Jimmy Richards getting away quickly too. John Bowe in front. Race leader John Bowe, the unmistakable sound of the Falcon V8. Ford Falcon is going to strike victory here today. John Bowe of Tasmania brings the Dick Johnson number 18 car across the line and he takes the win. From Tasmania, Mr. John Bowe of the Falcon. Back here at Mount Panorama, real drama, the 17 car of Dick Johnson. The way down from the top of the mountain has clouted the wall.
John Bowe looking absolutely disgusted. He would have seen the replay there.
But he took a terrible clout. There wasn't too much he could do about it. That's what you call copping one cold. It says it all on the face of Jilly Johnson in the pit area.
The biggest problem with this place is that there's too many once-a-year drivers, and I mean, you know, Dick was minding his own business and got torpedoed. It's just, this is like $1 million sport, and I think the licensing standards are, you know, leave a bit to be desired, don't they? Not everybody can do the same pace, but the problem is there's a lot of guys just race once a year here, and I didn't think you could do that. And they get into a bit of strife, and they don't know what to do about it, and they can, you know, they've just effectively wrecked a $200,000 race car, like it, and it could have hurt somebody. It's just not good enough.
Shannon's Legends of Motorsport, and of course we like to talk about the ups, but there are some big downs in this business. And look, in the heat of the moment, obviously it shows how much it affects you.
It's an emotional sport. I mean, you can't be involved in it at that level without having some emotion in it. And you know, there's so much work and so much effort and so much money goes into getting to Bathurst. And you know, then that happens. It's you know, I mean, it was the guys. It was the guy's fault. Obviously, I would have said that because he must have been a once-a-year. I mean, I know of the bloke. I've seen him, so I wouldn't say something that was unfounded, Bill.
Sure.
No. Well, see, like, motor racing is one of those sports. I suppose, like most sports, you can go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows in a nanosecond.
Yes.
And right at that point, I think we were leading the race. So.
Yes.
But there are so many of those stories. I mean, because your period together was the best part of 10 or 11 years, there are just as many lows as there are highs, and you think about the ones that got away at Bathurst and touring car rounds. But, I mean, Sandown, the 500k lead-in race to Bathurst was one that eluded you guys for ages, and then once you won one, you won two in a row. Exactly. So it was like unlocking the secret.
Yeah, we were pretty lucky in, I think, the second one, really, because the car wasn't really up to it, but for some reason we ended up winning the damn thing.
Yeah,
but
well, we had a good little team of people around us, and that's what makes good race cars. And you know, you have always in long races there's strategies involved, and you know, it was good. You need. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. You need the right ingredients, and quite a number of times we had the right ingredients, and other times we didn't. So
given that, 1995, the championship-winning year, how did that rate?
Oh, very highly, because we had a big issue at the start of the year. We were contracted to Dunlop as a tyre supplier. It was when tyres were open slather. You could have, you know, whatever you could get. And Dunlop actually developed some really good tyres for us, which we tested early in the year. And then the earthquake hit Kobe, and the factory was destroyed. So Dunlop went to untold lengths to get. They dug the moulds out of the rubble, and they shipped them to England, and then they built tyres for us over there to the same spec.
They were the same but different.
Yeah, they were.
But the guy that really made the contribution out of all that was this guy, because he effectively sacrificed his season to make sure that you had the best available rubber of what you could get your hands on.
He's a good bloke. I've always said that about him. No, he did. I mean, honestly, you know, I've said this 1,000 times. In 11 years, we did never have an argument, and I was never told to follow team orders, or, you know, I was treated on an equal basis, and at times he helped me and times I helped him, and that's how it should be. And, well, you know, we had a terrific relationship. We still have, as I hope you can see.
Well, I hate to bring it up, given that, but 1998, how much did that hurt when it did break up?
Well, it was unexpected from my point of view. But,
see, you know, I've never told anybody much this, so all your viewers will find out. I thought there's two factors went on. First of all, I was offered quite a lot of money at the time to go and start up this other team. I didn't want to go screwing Dick for money. I just didn't think it was appropriate. Secondly, Steve had been racing on and off in a third car, and he was clearly very gifted at it. So I thought, well, if I leave, Steve will get a chance. And, you know, I mean, it was a bit... I wanted him to do well, and I still do. So, you know, what happened, though, I think the Shell hierarchy at the time decided that he wasn't ready, and he was ready. So Dick ended up with Paul Radisich in the car that I'd vacated. So, yeah, it was a difficult time for us, for sure, but we've got over it, haven't we?
Yeah, mate, the only thing...
But had you stayed...
You haven't got caramel pants.
I'm getting something.
Had you stayed, though, JB, I mean, Dick's cars, that was when the AU Falcon came along. Yeah. And Radisich won some races and Dick was still competitive. What could you have done? How long could you have stayed there for?
Well, I think the early AUs that Dick had weren't that good, because Radisich had done a different sort of driving, so he didn't understand them. They later on were quite good, and I did a test in a magazine of one of his AUs, but it was probably the second or third version of it, and it was a terrific car. I did it at Eastern Creek one day for Unique Cars Mag, and I thought, geez, this is a good car. I wish I'd have driven this.
Well, yeah. It's appropriate that this segment ends with a kiss, because we have to say goodbye to Dick Johnson, and thank you very much for these stories, mate. It's very appropriate, and we'll be back with more after this. On the way to the break, though, another Shannon's classic car. Stay with us.
This car is presented as the EB Falcon, driven by Dick Johnson and John Bowe to victory at Bathurst in 1994. The original car was destroyed in a fearful crash at Phillip Island, so DJR converted one of its early EB race cars to pay respects to one of its fallen. It reminds us of the early days of the 5-litre V8 touring car category. They started with the standard body shell, then welded in a full-tube steel roll cage that made the car extremely rigid. Under the bonnet was a 5-litre fuel-injected Ford V8 with close to 600 brake horsepower at the mandated 7,500 RPM rev limit. A Hollinger 6-speed racing gearbox fed power to a multi-link live rear axle. These cars also featured powerful aerodynamics, with a big front spoiler fitted with an undertray that helped the front of the car stay glued to the track. A big rear wing across the boot could generate 200 kilograms of downforce on Conrod Straight. And who would have believed this 015 car would be challenging for the lead this late in the race?
This is heart-wrenching stuff.
The most powerful memory of DJR's EB Falcon is the final laps of that 1994 race, when John Bowe and a young gun called Craig Lowndes slugged it out for the lead in the nail-biting final stages. So Bowe's blazed through.
Now watch this.
Lowndes isn't letting him go.
Just locked up a brake on the way in and caught the tail on the way out.
The checkered flag is out for you.
Is the moment. Savour it, John.
John Bowe wins the 1994 Tui's 1000. Dick Johnson is absolutely jubilant, as you'd expect. John Bowe emerged the winner, so it's no surprise that he rates DJR's 1994 EB as one of the best cars he ever drove at Bathurst.
I really admire Bowe, what he's done in the sport, because like, he's not just been a touring car driver, he's been a very good open wheeler driver, sports car driver. Anything he puts his backside in, he's very competitive and takes it very seriously. And technically he's very strong. A very tough driver on the racetrack. Always liked driving down the inside of the road to stop you getting around. There's no doubt about that. Pretty hard bloke to pass, as they'd always say.
He was always a difficult fellow on the track. If you come across him somewhere, you knew you were in for a fight. As out of the car, you know, great. I never had any runs with John, no problems.
He was an outstanding driver, probably one of the fastest drivers, one of the most defensive drivers I think I've ever seen.
I think we were the complete opposites, and that's probably why we got on so well, because he was the world's greatest pessimist, and I was the world's greatest optimist.
We had a love-hate relationship, but you know, Bowe, I met up with him a couple of years back, and he's such a funny guy and so much fun to be with outside the racing. But you know, he was really, really tough, and that's why he was successful as well.
Yeah, I love JB's. I always have, and he's just always been. I know he's a different guy and he's uptight and he's this, but he's just been like another little bit of my family. So, and I looked after him for, I've always said 13 years. Always had his own little room.
Pre-race rituals is something that a lot of drivers have, and whether they drive the same way to the racetrack every day or have eat the same breakfast every morning. JB was this fanatic, mate. He had this pair of red undies that he would have to wear irrespective. And I can assure you, by the end of his career with DJR, these undies had more holes than, like, you'd just throw them in the bin. But he would wear another pair of underpants underneath and pull these things over the top. That was JB.
I don't know where to start with that.
Honestly, you know, I did go through a superstitious period, I must say. I had a St Christopher medal, and then I had those undies, and you know, the undies, obviously, as Dick says, wore out. I lost the St Christopher medal, so I don't have any of that anymore, so I'm cured.
And you're still going.
I'm still going. I'm cured.
How do you feel? You don't often get to hear that kind of thing, obviously.
No, you don't want to hear it, do you?
Well, I'm thinking now about the compliments and, of course, some of the, you know, the other more edgy comments. How do they make you feel?
Look, you know, I mean, it is touching because I have great respect for those guys. So, you know, when you're at the coalface with them, you fight pretty hard. They fight pretty hard too.
Well, I'm almost afraid to say you're in the twilight of your career because that's almost offensive to you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's just say the sunset is somewhere in the vicinity, maybe in the next 24 hours. Let's go through a couple of quick things in the time we have left. The car you loved.
Well, I loved the Sierras because we had really good success with them. And I don't know whether people buy Unique Cars magazine, but Dick and I did a piece on them at Lakeside because the Bowdens owned two of them, and we did a piece on them. And I said to him afterwards, were these cars that bad? You know, it's sort of like if you ever had a girlfriend when you were 20 and then you saw her when she was 55 or 60, you know, it's just not the same anymore. And that was the...
Let's get away from cars.
And the Sierra was the same. So, but I did have a fondness for it. I still have when I'm looking at it. The Vescander was quite special to me, and that car that I crashed at Phillip Island in '96, that was very special because Jimmy Stone, who worked at DJR then, he built that specifically for me, and I had a very close relationship with him. So yeah. But
what did you hate to drive?
I didn't like that Nissan much that I drove with Glenn. That was a shocking piece of whatever. You know, it was terrible, and Glenn will tell you the same thing. It was just a bad car, but it was obviously reasonably successful. You know, I've driven so many cars. I've always threatened to write them down and see how many there is in total, but I've never done it. All race cars can be made into good cars if you have the expertise. So, you know, if they start out bad, it's the driver's job and the people that he works with to make them good. And you can do that.
Speaking of drivers, though, most respected driver, because you race against so many in so many different things. Who's one guy that stands out that on your day, if you beat him, you've done well?
I mean, I say this because there's a lot of people I have a lot of respect for, but I do respect Jim Richards in a particular way because, first of all, he's older than me and he's still racing competitively. So if he can do it, I can do it. And he's always he does a good job of it. He knows what it takes. You know, I think he's an amazing driver, truly.
Hate is a very strong word, but let's just stick with that. Any driver you did hate?
Momentarily. I hated a lot of them. You know, I mean, it is an emotional sport, and if somebody gives you some serve up somewhere, even if it doesn't put you off the road, you hate them. So, you know, it's very easy to get hot under the helmet. So there's quite a number, but I've always tried not to take what happens on the track home with me, although occasionally I've done it, but I try not to. I try to still treat it as a sport. I still think it's a sport now, but it doesn't mean that I don't get emotional about it, because I do.
Well, you've done a pretty good job of managing all that over the years and are still doing it. Before we say goodbye, John Bowe, officially, just a reminder about the Shannon's Club. Time to discuss the great innovations there. Join today. It's easy, it's free. Go online, create your own virtual garage. There's lots to do. Discuss your favourite topics on the forums. You can enter the latest competitions, find out the car club and events that are on. Plus, you can catch up on episodes of Shannon's Legends of Motorsport, not only from this year but last year, of course, all part of the Shannon's Club TV experience. And just a reminder, the DVD is available now for Shannon's Legends of Motorsport Series 1. Relive the wonderful moments and our many special guests, wonderful stories, and boy, have we heard some today. John Bowe, congratulations on your achievements, mate. You've given us so much joy over the years.
Thank you, mate. If I was a crying type, I would have cried by now, but I'm not. So
well, in the background somewhere, Dick Johnson is crying. We thank him for joining us today. And he's still recovering from that kiss. Thank you, of course, to Aaron. And thank you to the team at Bowden's, as usual, and our wonderful studio audience. We'll be back soon with another Shannon's Legends of Motorsport episode. Bye for now.
Here's drama. Our outright race leader, with a diminishing lead over Alan Moffat, is slowing down. Are we about to lose a hold of the dealer team car?
The 73 race changed the whole character of the race.